Thanks, everybody, for being with us in our open book. Joan Denny, Eleanor Pearlstein, Karen Lockhart. Good to be with you early because we've got some family plans. Dorothy Joy. I have gone back on this Memorial Day. Hi there, Andrea Elizabeth Mitchell. Through this wonderful reporting World War II from our friends at the Modern Library. And of course, that exemplary correspondent, the late great Ernie Pyle. Hi there, Nancy Stettel. Stettel? And hello to everybody in downtown Tarada. This is quite a dispatch. January 10, 1944. Ernie Pyle typed it out, called it in. From the mountains of Italy. Says by wireless. Hi there, Charlie Camilos. Hi there, Darlie. The dispatch is, this one is Captain Waskow.
Good, you have it set up properly.
At the front lines in Italy, January 10. Ernie Pyle writes, in this war I've known a lot of officers who were loved and respected by the soldiers under them. But never have I crossed the trail of any man as beloved as Captain Henry T. Waskow of Belton, Texas. Captain Waskow was a company commander in the 16th Division. He'd been in this company since long before he left the States. He was very young, only in his middle 20s, but he carried in him a sincerity and gentleness that made people want to be guided by him. After my own father, he comes next, a sergeant told me. He always looked after us, the soldier said. He'd go to bat for us every time. I've never known him to do anything unkind, another one said. I was at the foot of the mule trail that night. They brought Captain Waskow down.
I actually made it worse. You were actually doing just fine, and then I tried to adjust it. Let's see.
Should I move?
No, I think it's okay.
Ernie Pyle writes, I was at the foot of the mule trail that night they brought Captain Waskow down. The moon was nearly full, and you could see far up the trail and even part way across the valley. Soldiers made shadows as they walked. Dead men had been coming down the mountain all evening, lashed onto the backs of mules. They came lying belly down across the wooden pack saddle, their heads hanging down on the left side of the mule, their stiffened legs sticking awkwardly from the other side, bobbing up and down as the mule walked. The Italian mule skinners were afraid to walk beside dead men, so Americans had to lead the mules down that night.
Excusez-moi.
Even the Americans were reluctant to unlash and lift off the bodies when they got to the bottom. So an officer had to do it himself and ask others to help. The first one came early in the morning. They slid him down from the mule and stood him on his feet for a moment. In the half light, he might have been merely a sick man standing there leaning on the other. They had laid him on the ground in the shadow of the stone wall along the road. Ernie Pyle writes, I don't know who that first one was. You feel small in the presence of dead men. And you don't ask silly questions. We left him there beside the road, that first one, and we all went back into the cowshed and sat on water cans or lay on the straw, waiting for the next batch of mules. Somebody said the dead soldier had been dead for 4 days, and then nobody said anything more about it. We talked for an hour or more. The dead man lay all alone. outside in the shadow on the wall. Then a soldier came into the cowshed and said there were some more bodies outside. We went out into the road. 4 mules stood there in the moonlight in the road where the trail came down off the mountain. The soldiers who led them stood there waiting. This one is Captain Waskow, one of them said quickly. 2 men unlashed his body from the mule and lifted it off and laid it in the shadow beside the stone wall. Other men took the other bodies off. Finally, there were 5 lying end to end in a long row. Ernie Pyle writes, you don't cover up dead men in the combat zones. They just lie there in the shadows until somebody else comes after them. The uncertain mules moved off to their olive groves. The men in the road seemed reluctant to leave. They stood around, and gradually I could sense them moving one by one closer to Captain Waskow's body. Not so much to look, I think, as to say something in finality to him and to themselves. I stood close by and I could hear. One soldier came and looked down, and he said out loud, "God damn it." That's all he said, and then he walked away. Another came and he said, "God damn it to hell anyway." He looked down for a few last moments and then turned and left. Another man came. I think he was an officer. It was hard to tell officers from men in the dim light, for everybody was grimy and dirty. The man looked down into the dead captain's face and then spoke directly to him, as though he were alive. "I'm sorry, old man." Then a soldier came and stood beside the officer and bent over, and he, too, spoke to his dead captain. Not in a whisper, but awfully tenderly. And he said, "I sure am sorry, sir." Then the first man squatted down, and he reached down and took the captain's hand. And he sat there for a full 5 minutes, holding the dead hand in his own and looking intently into the dead face. And he never uttered a sound all the time he sat there. Finally, he put the hand down. He reached up and gently straightened the points of the captain's shirt collar, and then he sort of rearranged the tattered edges of his uniform around the wound. And then he got up and walked away down the road in the moonlight, all alone. The rest of us went back into the cowshed, leaving the 5 dead men lying in a line end to end in the shadow of the lone stone wall. We lay down on the straw in the cowshed, and pretty soon we were all asleep. January 10, 1944, Scripps Howard, the great Ernie Pyle. And that's from the Library of America edition, reporting in World War II. And that's what Memorial Day is all about. So, we're on a little early. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping us remember the sacrifices that others have made for us to be here. And thanks for joining us on our open book. We're going to be in New York tomorrow around open book time. See if we can do a little something. We're appearing at P&T Knitwear.
I did not choose it.
Knitwear. Yeah. Well, it's become a performance venue now. I don't know if they have any actual knitwear there, but it's a bookstore and podcast studios, and it'll be good to be there. Our friend Jeannie Gaffigan will be interviewing me about our book, Ulysses S. Capt. So thanks very much for being with us on our open book today, tonight. Good to be with you, and a good Memorial Day to all. Thanks.